Salvete. Nomen mihi est Maddie. Ego ad Italiam veni. During the summer of 2011, we went to Italy. We stopped in Rome, Capri, Pompeii, and Sorrento, and we were able to experience the culture that we've been learning about over the past 3 years, because I've always seen pictures and heard about the life of the ancient Romans and Romans today, but hearing about it was nothing like actually being there. It was an experience that I'll never forget. And when I went home, I was just so excited to tell everyone I knew, and I told my parents basically everything that happened on the trip. This is my dad, and he's going to tell you what he thought about the trip.
Hi, my name is Ted Malone. I'm Maddie's father. When Maddie first approached us, my wife and I, about the Latin immersion trip, we thought it was a tremendous opportunity that would complement her classroom studies here at Penncrest. Maddie's been a Latin student here at Penncrest since 9th grade, so 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. My wife and I looked at the itinerary as well as the cost and thought it was a great value. The trip was 9 days long. They visited 4 different cities: Rome, Pompeii, Capri, and Sorrento. They stayed in 3 different hotels, and according to Maddie, they were busy the whole time. Maddie came home with a lot of pictures and shared a lot of great experiences. She made a lot of friends. My wife and I also saw it as something that would reflect favorably upon her during the college admissions process. And lastly, I would like to thank the Rose Tree Media School Board for valuing this opportunity.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Erin et je suis en terminale. Je suis allée au Canada au mars 2012. On the way up, we saw a lot of historic sites, and we did a lot of walking tours with the history of Britain and Canada fighting for the ownership of the land. And we learned about the battles that they had, and I learned a lot about them in my history classes with Mr. Silva and Mr. Ludwig. And we learned about the French and Indian War and how it went on for quite a while in the United States and in Europe. And the first thing we did when we got there was a acrobatic thing with gymnastics, and it was very full of exercise, which is a lot like gym class, but a little bit more fun than gym. And when we went, we spoke a lot in French and in English, and we went shopping in Quebec, and a lot of the cashiers spoke in French, and it helped me connect, like speaking in French and in English, and they were very helpful and liked to speak to us in French, and I learned a lot about talking to them, and the whole experience was a lot of fun, and I liked it. And I got very close with 2 of my friends that went with me, and we shared a hotel room, and we sat together on the bus, and we spend a lot of time together now in French class and outside of school, and it helped us a lot to be better at French, and we got closer as friends. And
你好，我叫陆立贤，我上宾馆高中12年级，这是我的第3年学中文。我去了中国，很爱中国，因为 I learned so much on the trip to China last summer. It was so cool to go and stand on the Great Wall, and it's just such an icon, and it's just so cool to actually be there, because you see it in the textbook all the time, and it's just so cool to be there. And it was just interesting because you'd walk off of the Great Wall and there'd be like a Burger King and a McDonald's, and it was so cool to see how we've influenced them and they've influenced us. And then once you walk into a store and an employee sees you, they come up and they're like, oh, an American, so they start talking in English, and it was so cool and just so much fun to respond to them in Chinese, because they'd kind of be in shock, but they'd be just so happy, and they'd just start talking to you and just telling you all this stuff. And it was really awesome practice, and I get really nervous talking in front of people in any language, and so it was really cool to be there and get that practice. On the last day that we were in Beijing, we went to a school, and after talking to the students a while, Lin Lashui came up to me and asked if I'd say something on behalf of Pencrest in Chinese. I got really nervous because there was quite a few people there, but I went up there and I went up and I did it, no problem. And I told them about the school and I told them how much fun we were having, and I was just so happy with that because I mean I can't even do that when I'm in America in like English class. But I was just so happy that I went home and I checked all the colleges that I was applying to make sure they all had Chinese because I love it.
Me llamo Margola Bourgeois. Yo estoy en la clase de Español 3. Yo voy a viajar a Costa Rica. I am very excited to travel to Costa Rica for spring break this school year. Many of my friends are coming as well and are just as excited as I am because there are many things to look forward to. This trip will give us the chance to interact with young public school students while helping improve their school. Speaking with younger kids will also be easier and more helpful since they tend to speak slower. I am also looking forward to exploring the forest and helping conserve it. We will also be able to observe new butterfly species when we visit the butterfly farm and bird species when we hike through the forest. We will also be visiting many different places and we will get the chance to talk to people from a totally different culture. Being able to do so many great things will be an experience of a lifetime.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Justin Schumacher y estoy en la clase de español AP. Esta noche quiero contarles sobre mi viaje a España en marzo.
I would like to highlight some of my great memories that I had while visiting Spain. Christian, my student, came in September and he got along with my family from the very first day. He is an only child, so he liked living with two other brothers, my brother and me. One night we had an Italian dinner with my aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents, which he seemed to enjoy a lot. When I traveled there in March, his family was so welcoming, especially his mother. She always checked in on me to see how I was, when I woke up, how I had slept, at mealtime, whether I was still hungry or thirsty, and before I went to bed to make sure I had a good day. His family is also very family-oriented. I met with his aunts, uncles, and his grandparents every day to have tapas, a small Spanish appetizer. I felt so at home there in March that I decided to travel back in August for 2 weeks. Maybe everything in the exchange went so smoothly because of the preparation I had before. I felt very ready for the trip in the weeks before the exchange in March. The several meetings before helped a lot to prepare me. In terms of my language readiness, I felt like I had a very strong background in Spanish and that I could communicate well with his friends and family throughout the entire time I was there.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Maggie, je suis élève à Pencrest, je suis en terminale et cette année je participe de l'échange français. Voilà ma correspondante et meilleure amie Zoe. I remember in the summer, as soon as I got Zoe's name, I immediately searched her on Facebook and sent her a ton of emails, and immediately we started talking about our families and school and what we like to do in our spare time. And I could tell that we would be good friends, but none of that compared to the moment at the airport when we first met and hugged. And then for the past 5 days, we've just been having a great time. She's been experiencing things in America that they don't have in France, and we've been sharing things here, and it's a lot of fun. She's become part of my family, and I really can't wait until March when I'm there in France to experience the same thing.